poem by Gwendolyn Brooks called The Bean Eaters. The pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel. We real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sing sin, we thin gin, we jazz June, we die soon. Okay, Gwendolyn Brooks, a favorite poet of mine. The first one I'm going to do is from my book Relationships called What I Do for Brenda, but she never knew it. As she drives, she places the inhaler in her mouth, fires a puff deep, holds her breath until she can breathe again. I still carry a Zippo, light her cigarettes, watch my heart melt in the shadow of the flame. It is an old lighter. At a rainbow festival, someone gave it to me for a 6-pack of beer. I still carry it, light her cigarettes, fall in love, look into the dark window of her car when she takes out the inhaler. There are things I can't change, so I write poetry instead. And the next one is The Wake Up for Mary Esther. One bright brown eye peeks out at the world, still dark with the shade of morning. She is not sure whether it is safe to throw off her cover, come out to dance with the uncertainty of day. Life is like that sometimes. On other days, the sun is blinding through the Easter window of the room she now shares with the man who loves her. He smiles at the shadows cast by life until they back off, grins down the throat of hard luck until it coughs up sunlight, and then he kisses her forehead and says, "It's all right now. Breakfast is ready." Okay. The next poem I'm going to do is from Heroines Harbor. It's called Significant Other. I find myself checking the veins on the arms of pretty women strolling through Harvard Square, double-pierced tongue, aerial spikes through body suspended, bird beaks biting the skull of sensual strangers, blood-spattered orgasms spandex the mind. Met her on a Sunday, handcuffs too tight. God chooses our soulmates. I want the woman with the ankh tattooed on her ankle. I think of pyramids when we fuck. She feeds her raven dead parakeets, places her dachshund in the cage with the boa constrictor, drops lamprey eels into her giant goldfish pond, prays for hot days, says she wants to eat me live but doesn't want me to live through it. She shreds Brillo into my spaghetti, laces my heroin with digitalis, stretches wire across bicycle paths I use daily. She pours quicklime into my condoms. God chooses our soulmates. I want the woman with the teeth. Okay, the next one is from Spare Change News, and Poesis published it also years ago. It's called Wham, 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 in memory of Justin Ronchetti, one more victim. He tried to drive away, 21 years always running from his shadow, but it was holding onto his shoulders from the inside. He tried to drive away. It was the cage he was running from. It's always hard to run when you're already in the cage. He tried to drive away. He didn't ask the cop to jump onto his car, but the cop jumped on his car. He chose to do it. What's a junkie to do? He was just trying to run. That's what junkies do. But this cop jumped onto the hood of his car. The blue gang are always trying to be heroes, but the junkie tried to drive away. That's what junkies do. The cop was holding on for dear life. He didn't think it was going to go down like this. He thought the junkie was going to stop. Junkies run. That's what they do best. So the cop screamed, "Stop, stop," and pulled out his gun and said, "Don't make me do it. Don't make me shoot," like it was the junkie's finger on the trigger. But all the junkie wanted to do was run, so he hit the gas, and the cop freaked out. He pulled the trigger. Wham, 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 and glass, metal, blood. Nobody thought it would go down like this. All the junkie wanted to do was run. He'd been running all his life, just from the pain of being alive. He tried to drive away. All he wanted to do was drive, but the cop jumped on the car, thought he could make him stop, but it was scary, too scary just hanging onto the hood of a car. The hood of a car that wouldn't stop moving, but it wasn't the car moving made him shoot. It wasn't the junkie behind the wheel of the car that made him shoot. The junkie was just trying to get away when the cop screamed, "Don't make me shoot." But the finger, it was the finger of the hand of the cop who was scared because he didn't think it was going to go down like this, that pulled the trigger, blew the junkie's face all apart, splattered blood all over the car. He was just driving the car. All he wanted to do was run, pulled the trigger. What was he thinking when the bullet drove through the windshield, into his mind, bringing with it the shards of glass, sharper than the memories that drove him to run, memories of bits of broken glass? He tried to drive away, wham, 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 all his life. So, Justin Ronchetti. The next one I'm going to read is Allergies, and this one is also in Heroine's Harbor. At the needle exchange, she came in, short purple hair, skinny, beautiful, pupils wide with junk yen. Urgently, she tugged my coat and said, "Marc, I think someone sold me a bad gram. I chipped a piece off it 3 times, shot it, just keep getting sicker each time I run it into my blood." She held it out to me. I took it into my hand, rumblings of deep dope yen awakening full bore inside me. I held the chunk to my nose and sniffed it. With sorrow in my eyes, I peered deep into her bottomless chasmic pupils. "God, I hate to tell you this," I said, "but the guy sold you beef bouillon." Her mouth dropped open, full of gasp. Then she said, "Damn it, no wonder that stuff made me sick. I'm a vegetarian." So, okay. This one is called The Flower Days. In the beginning, there were the flower days. They followed the days of heroin and hypodermics. It was a time of cleansing, the sweet smell of burning grass washed away the stench of old cookers, fishhook, hypodermics, and selling myself to old men on the streets of the worm core apple. Suddenly, it was like Tinker Bell of the Peter Pan story had finally appeared on my window sill and dropped the magic on me. I flew that night. We all did. We danced the Woodstock even before it happened. At first it was the window pane, the four-way sunshine, the Owsley blue acid, and they sang to us, to love the one you're with. And we did. We didn't know that it meant to love ourselves, but we loved you with a passion. Getting high was the quest for God. Getting high was sweet love in the mosquito dusk. Getting high was old friends in the soft afterglow of the moonshine. Getting high was the sweet smell of hemp in the cloud mountain morning back at the commune. Getting high was the scent of she slipping back into the sleeping bag with two joints rolled, rolling acid on her tongue, and she kissing the power-hit pungent smoke deep into you. The sweet organ honey from the night before was the perfume dancing you deep into each other. There could be no going back. Who would want to? Then the nightmares crept into the dreaming. We would dream awake, flying on crystal meth for days. The loving ended. The fucking began. 7 days later, we wondered when we had last slept, pulling away from each other as sweat poured from pores and blood spilled from our genitals, searching and running crazy from one damage to the next, faces eaten by drug lust, the dealers cutting the dope with screams and rat poison as the needle boys slithered in snake-skin soft. Getting high was sucking strange cock in the cobblestone dawn of the Big Apple. Getting high was the brown breath of rotting teeth calling from the mouths of children. Getting high was hiding from the face of an alien god. Getting high was she, leaping into the air with blood running out of her nostrils and ears and screaming for someone to take the shot back out of her vein when no one could. Getting high was seeing her die and not being able to stop. Getting high was lockdown on maxi tier, someone slipping a joint through the bars, and after you smoke the pinner, peace and love and all that shit, your cellmate asks you, what would you do if I set you on fire while you sleep? Getting high was hands shaking, sitting on the shitter in McDonald's, dope in the cooker. You drop your vial of clean water and draw up the water from the toilet to shoot the dust of lost dreams into your veins, never dreaming it could end like this, never dreaming angels could die and blow away like dead leaves, never dreaming that the alleyways would be home to so many, never dreaming that hospitals, institutions, and death demon sighs in the night, past lovers becoming hag-bagged legions, pushing shopping carts, genius poets screaming rhyme through a Haldol haze, praying for electroshock to take them home would become acceptable facts, never dreaming that you could dream again. Even the old men didn't want us anymore, blown away powder boys and girls of the sweet 60s, dead leaves burning in chemical piles on the heated grates of cities that should have no names. Some of us still remain to tell tales of how it was and how the times of light became darkened We only sing these tales like tellers of old because we are compelled by what was once an alien god. Come, sit by the fire, and we will sing you a song of how it was. They were the flower days in the beginning. Okay, let me see here. How much time do I have? Hello? Okay.
Technically 5 minutes, but please just finish whatever you'd like. You have 5+.
Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, I'll finish with this poem here. I have trouble with names for Buster. I woke up punished into the Bukowski dawn, hung down from all the shots I did not take, with a book full of phone numbers and no one to call. I woke up dreaming visions of silent junkies with years of recovery, dead in dark bathrooms. They said he worked a good program, did service work, started meetings, even worked the 12 steps. What then was it, after 9 drug-free years, that caused him to run back to Cotton and Cooker? 9 years clean, and then came what they call the slip. He tried to come back. He tried to come back. What is the name of that alien god that opens its hands and lets someone slip through its fingers? Some of us name the gods. I have trouble with names. I heard someone say once that if you go out, only the grace of a god of our misunderstanding can bring you back. They say he had a choice and made a conscious decision to dance with the poison dust of incoherent dreams. I don't know. Some say I have good recovery. I'm doing all the right things, going to meetings, working the steps, service work, and all that. But the glassine bags of lies still dance in my druggy head. The bags have names given by street slaves. Down at Central Square, I was talking to a good friend about coming into recovery. She said she was ready to stop shooting dope real soon. How about tomorrow? Then it happened just like in Burroughs' Interzone. Reptiles slithered in the corners of my mind when the dealer slipped up and dropped 2 packets into the space that my eyes lived in. Sorry, my friend said. I forgot to tell you I was waiting. Let me tell you about the waiting. I was too close and wanted to leave. The junk called to me, and it knew my name. Sometimes, when I ride to school around Shawmut Avenue, I pass a section of town with a tiny park on both sides of Mass Ave, with benches, grass, and metal swings. I want to stop, lock up my motorcycle, and sit on the bench till the dope man comes. I know he will come to this place. It sings to me of sad songs passed down from one dead junkie to another. This park has no name. They say he had good recovery. He was found in his parents' house with a needle in his arm. There were 3 empty bags laying by the cooker, and his hands clutched his throat with a swollen tongue spilling out of a mouth that would no more cry, mercy. They say he had good recovery. They say the same about me. There is a park that I pass on the way to school. It has no name. If I enter this park, I will become nameless too. All right. Peace.